Everything has a story, but I find some things are best left unexplained. The mystery engages the imagination. History and fiction both have their place, but today we went looking for the unknown. The book yet to be read, the film yet to be screened. They're waiting in the stars for those willing to look up. It was witnessed as early as the Trail of Tears in 1863. The first published record was in 1881 in a publication called the Ozark Spooklight.
Speaking of scary stuff, Hank Rotten standing by on Spooklight Road this morning, Hank, and what is that light behind you?
Well, I'll tell you what, Philip, I've been coming down to the Spooklight for many, many years, something we did as kids living in Carterville, and I've seen it, but today we are really experiencing the Spooklight. It's right up there behind me. It's up in the air. Actually, Philip, can you see it there, that little bright light up there?
The Hornet Spooklight, or Tri-County Spooklight, has been a paranormal enigma for more than a century. Appearing as an orange ball of light, it travels east to west along a 4-mile gravel road, the Devil's Promenade, near area locals. The road is farther down than where the Spooklight appears. It was a rickety wooden bridge connecting to Spooklight Road. If anyone paced the bridge 5 times and asked for the devil to appear, he would answer 3 questions, grant 3 wishes, or kill you. A Quapaw Indian maiden fell in love with a young brave from the area. According to the oldest tale, her father wouldn't allow her to marry the man as he did not have a large enough dowry. They eloped but were chased by a party of warriors. When the couple was close to being apprehended, they joined hands above the spring river and leapt to their deaths. The light began to appear after this and was attributed to the spirits of the young lovers. Some say it's an Indian chief. Some say the light was present when the first white man arrived at the beginning of the 19th century. The light may be a miner who lost his wife and children to the Indians and is still searching the road for them. Or maybe it was a miner who got lost in the woods and his wife took up a lantern and set off to find him. When he failed to return the next night, she searched again and again until she died. Now her ghost travels the road with the lantern.
The original name of the Spooklight was the Hornet Spooklight, named for a little village and cemetery here on the Missouri side. It was best seen around here in the 1920s and 30s, and then it migrated west into Oklahoma along 40 Road.
Now let me be transparent. I'm a skeptic. My cautious doubt has served me well. For example, some folks in these hills once told me the Devil's Knob Fire Tower, constructed in 1914, was cursed and closed after 7 people across 7 days climbed to the top and leapt to their death. Now, I searched online and even contacted the Forest Service to corroborate the tale, yet no evidence ever turned up. I wrote it off as a campfire story or local folklore, a bit of useless fiction. But I'm starting to have second thoughts on that last phrase. You see, I think there might be some value in these tall tales. There's something here that transcends fact and fiction.
We originally were going to go up to, do you remember the name?
It was like Devil's
Knob.
Devil's Knob, that's what
We're going to go up to Devil's Knob and camp there. There were some people up there, and plus that's a spot that, believe it or not, I'd never been. That's why I wanted to show you guys that tower. Is super cool. But once we got up there, I didn't realize how, like, close to civilization that spot was. There were power lines running right through it. There's like pipes and so anyways, that's not really what I was looking for. You could see into people's private property from there, farmland and stuff. So
Yeah.
we saw that and said, we'll get some cool shots of the tower and we're going to bounce.
Yeah.
Came down here to the Piney. Actually, let me show you. It's incredibly low, but we found a nice little spot right down here on the water, and I think that this is much more my speed. What's the plan for the night?
Watch a movie
Watch a movie
in the tent.
and sit around a campfire and grill some burgers and do camping stuff. Yeah, we totally do watch movies in the tent at nighttime, but we do camping stuff
we
too.
Do. We do.
All right, so let's get camp set up, and then we can get to cooking. In the Ozarks, the air is thick with history. Each tree a witness, each stone a storyteller. As my daughter and I set up camp, I continually found my mind shifting to those shadows of the past. You see, I'm drawn to the haunting narratives. The lost gold of outlaws buried in secret glades, the ghostly lights that flicker across moonlit waters. They say the spirits of those who loved and lost still wander these woods. Their stories etched in the very soil beneath my feet. In the Ozarks, history breathes, and every exploration is a journey into the enigmatic embrace of time. I love this place, not just for its beauty, but for the stories that stir the soul. All right, camp is all set up. Truck and tent over here. Got the water, hand washing station, soap and water pump over here. Linen's chilling. Eventually that's gonna be a nice fire. We're gonna do that. It's finally cold enough for campfires, which is awesome. I'm stoked about that. And then off there in the distance, we got the bathroom set up. One of those things that I always set up when I bring my kids because it just makes life a little bit easier. I'm good to dig a hole. Although with this terrain, it's so rocky that helps. Pack it in, pack it out. But yeah, I mean, you could see here, just look. It's crazy low out here right now. Crazy low. But listen to that sound. That's why we do it. I'm in my happy place. This is the messiest burger known to man, but I had to document the bite because it's insane. Oh my goodness. That's amazing! How's yours? Good? Isn't that good? Man, that dinner was absolutely incredible. Like, I know everyone always says that camp food is the best food for whatever reason. Maybe it's just because you're expecting it to be bad and burned or whatever, and so if it comes out decent in the woods, you just feel like you hit a jackpot. Normally I'm that way. This way I can actually say that was one of the best burgers, if not the best burger I've ever had in my life. It was really good. I'll definitely be doing that again. Lennon went ahead and headed up to the tent. She's hanging out up there watching a movie. I'm going to join her in a minute. But we just got the last little bit of the fire going here. So I wanted to eat this up. This is my favorite part of camping. I've said this before on the channel, but sitting around a campfire, listening to the crickets and frogs chirp, looking up at the stars. Yeah, this is what it's all about. There's something about this that we were made to do. I really think that. I know that camping's not for everybody. I mean, my own wife doesn't love it, but being outside, she does enjoy being outdoors, and there's just something about the reset that happens. Whatever level of kind of immersion you're comfortable with, get outside. It's really good for you. We spend too much time on screens, and I acknowledge and recognize the irony in saying this when knowing this is going on a YouTube video. But I don't know. I think we can encourage each other. There's nothing wrong with screens. There's nothing wrong with that space, but encouraging each other to find ways to get out, you know, I think that that's good too. Good morning, Vietnam. I feel better now. I took care of that business, then got washed up, teeth brushed. Not gonna do a big breakfast this morning. We had a lot of food last night, and I brought some Pop-Tarts. Lyndon is over there enjoying, you know, so easy to please. Just gonna get some shots around camp this morning, kind of show this location, and then we're gonna hit the trail. I think I'm gonna wheel out a different way that I came in. So you can go on this, the road is up here. You can go back south towards, like, if you're familiar with the area, towards Car Wash Falls. We would actually turn and start going west before that, but you can go that way, or you can take this road and go north all the way until you hit the highway, which I've done that as well. But if we go south, I can take a few trails on the way back that I haven't done. And I'm kind of curious to see what's out there. So we'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and charge up the phone and the watch and stuff. I love that little Anker C300. I love having a little power station to carry around. The lantern bit is cool. Used that last night. And just being able to do a quick charge on my stuff. If you're in the market for something like that, something real small, light, and portable, a lot of us have these power banks like this one, and they're great. They last forever, but they are so heavy. So if you're wanting to just, you know, be able to carry something with you, maybe leave the truck, super nice to have that. If you're interested in this spot, this camp spot here, I have saved it in Onyx, and I've made that available to my members. Channel members get access to all my GPS data, as well as group camp invites and Slack access and other stuff. So if you want this spot, you can click that join button here on YouTube, and you'll get access to it. But it's great. I love using Onyx for basic waypoint mapping and route planning. Onyx is a cleaner, easier to use UI for probably the majority of people. If you want a discount for using that app, you can click the link down in the description below and get that. But I think we're gonna go ahead and pack up. Beautiful spot, absolutely killer night. Let's hit the trail.
We broke camp, ensured the area was left better than we found it, and made our way back across the Piney. We planned to take a new route home and would hopefully come across something intriguing or mysterious, which we did. Stay tuned for that. But the final destination on my radar was the Spooklight. Nestled in the Ozark Hills of Missouri, near the borders of Joplin and the quaint town of Hornet, lies a phenomenon that has captivated the imaginations of locals and visitors alike for over a century. The mysterious light, often described as an orb or a glowing ball, appears in the darkened skies and has sparked countless stories, legends, and investigations. It represents not just a natural curiosity, but also a deeper connection to the region's rich tapestry of folklore and history. The origins of the Spooklight date back to the late 19th century, with reports of its sighting becoming more and more frequent in the early 20th century. Local lore suggests that the light is the ghost of a lost traveler, forever wandering the hills in search of home. Various accounts attribute the phenomenon to different sources, ranging from the spirits of Native Americans to tragic tales of unrequited love. But this haunting narrative is intertwined with the history of the region, which has seen its share of upheaval. From conflicts involving Native American tribes to the establishment of mining communities in the late 1800s, the area's rich past serves as fertile ground for the legends surrounding the Spooklight, allowing it to transcend mere curiosity and become part of the cultural heritage of the Ozarks. And while this was the final destination we set out to explore, something unexpected caught our eye first.
Check this out. There's like this kind of hollowed out section of the rock, and then right back up in there is that little, it's like a little boy with a book and a bunch of animals around him. This would be freaky if we discovered this at night. Of course, you'd never see it at night. It's up in this, not a cave, I don't know what you call this. Bluff shelter? Just a little hollowed out section of the rock. Isn't that crazy? That's amazing that you saw that. I wouldn't have even noticed it.
It's like a shelter, and then it just has a little human.
Pretty bizarre, isn't it? Let's continue on.
It's not like this collapse.
Yes. Everything that you've seen in the video up to this moment, I filmed and edited completely before now. The reason is I wanted the experience, what we experienced when we came to the Spooklight. I didn't want that to taint anything that you saw in the video up until this moment. So everything you've seen with my daughter, the camping trip, the history, the archive footage, the news clips that I included, all of that I shot and then stopped at my house and edited everything to this moment. We're here on E50. This is the road going down here, and I've stopped before the area we're fixing to go check out and see what we see. You know, there's people that have come out here and didn't see anything. There is people that have come out here and saw something that they felt like they could explain. And then obviously there's the people that believe the folklore and said that what they witnessed, they couldn't explain it. And I don't know what we're gonna find. We may find nothing. I'm shooting this before we've even gone down there, but I wanted everything that you have seen up to this moment to be something that I shared without having any sort of experience. I've never been to this spot before. I have no idea what we're gonna see, but I'm excited to check it out. Behind me right here are a couple channel members of mine. We've talked about coming here for a while. This is Stefan and Max and Kathy, and I dropped Lennon off at the house to edit what you've seen up to this moment, and we're gonna go down here and set up some cameras and see what we find. It's definitely neither one of the cell tower, whatever that is, and then that guy that drove by. So those are obviously man-made lights. But I think when I was back there on the ridge, you could see that orange light. So I don't know if we want to go a little bit further down. Yeah, I don't know. Let's drive down a bit more and see what we find. I'll pull up here. And I definitely saw something back there. I just drove down here to the end of E50, the road, and you can see the light for a portion of this, and then eventually it disappears. I went ahead and went all the way to the end of the road just in case, like, it was something else shining through the trees that I was seeing, and thought maybe if I got down here again, I'd be able to see it. But it's like it just fades out to nothing. You can see it as you get near, and then it just kind of disappears. It's really strange. So I'm gonna drive back here, I'm looking in my rearview mirror, and get back here to where I can see it again. It's really bizarre. Too many cars. When do you guys lose it when you're driving back there?
Well, I mean, just as we got almost to the bottom, that's when it went away for me. I could just see the glow, and then it was gone, but then a car showed up.
Yeah.
So the car may have made it go away, but it's definitely unique. It's a different color, and it doesn't change.
Right.
It doesn't twinkle, it doesn't glow up or glow down, and because that light is real erratic. It can be like a cheap LED light we're watching.
Right.
I'm not sure. It's. I wish we would see what the patrol officer said his buddy saw.
So I didn't catch it on camera. I wish I did. But a police officer literally just came through here checking on us. Obviously, there's been a few people drive by, so he probably was just making sure that we, weren't hurt or up to no good. Anyways, and we told him, kind of what we were doing.
Yeah.
Tell him what he told us.
So he said 2 days ago, he had a fellow police officer that called him on the radio and was like, hey, it looks like somebody's shining a spotlight, like, or spotlighting, traffic when they come through. And he was like, no, he said, go investigate and get a little closer. And he said, as he got closer, the light would disappear. So he turned around and come back and made the pass again and would turn his lights off, and he could see it. And he said it was bright and it looked like almost like a lantern bouncing through the, trail in a sense. But he said it would go and then you get closer and then it would go away. So
that was cool.
That was cool, yeah.
Right when he was talking, I was like, oh, dude, I gotta grab my camera. I gotta grab it.
I know, that'd have been great.
And then
it had a handheld button.
I know. I wish I had this one ready. But right after that, he bolted. But that's so cool.
And then he drove down there himself checking it out, and drove really slow, and then once it got dark, we could see it again. I used my iPhone and tried it, and you could see it, and it was kind of bouncing, but it was a little different color, so it's hard to really say. But it was neat because it would flicker, and it would kind of bouncing around, and then it would go to the shoulder and come back to the road.
Yeah.
So it was like somebody was walking. I mean,
Yeah.
it was neat. I mean,
you could kind of start to see how like the stories about it being like a miner that got lost, and then the wife went out looking for him with the lantern, because it looks like a lantern.
it really does, and it's got that flicker like an old, like, you know, the lanterns back then are probably wick or
Yeah,
maybe kerosene or something,
Sure.
or may not even be that. If it was in the 1880s, like that
Sure.
started, it could have been, you know, one of them old
Torches or something. Sure. I knew this was gonna be hard to film, but so you can see the red cell tower lights back there. Just over that ridge, there is there's a guy living out there, and he has a light in his yard, but you definitely cannot see that from here. And it's more that direction. So it's more north, I guess. All right, so I don't know if you guys can see this, and there's a decent amount of traffic, more traffic than we thought, but right over my right shoulder, where those cars that are driving down there in the distance is where you can see it. It's like a flickering orange light. And so I got in the car, drove down there, because I've heard people say you kind of lose it as you get closer to it. Did that, and I lost it, but you could still see it back here, right? This is how the rumors get started. And that's also what makes it probably one that's lasted for a century, is because there's not a good explanation.
Yeah, and then you get out here and the stories tie together.
We're back on the road, and I'm just kind of processing. You know, I had this idea when we were going to the Spooklight, and I shared it when we first got down there, and that it was basically that I wanted everything up to that point in the video to have been shot and fully edited, because I didn't want whatever I experienced to taint how I framed the video. And kind of what I mean by that is I knew that there was a potential that if we went there, we wouldn't see anything. There's videos online and there's blogs that I read of people that went to that area and didn't see anything other than the radio tower lights and a few car headlights and stuff like that. So I knew that if I went there and that was my experience, I would be probably less likely to make this video. And I think when you're investigating anything that is a mystery, difficult to explain, paranormal, anything like that, it's best to have a fully open mind and just share exactly what you document without hunting for a story or having to have it go a certain way. And of course I wanted to see the light, and I'm thrilled that we did get to see it and we did get to capture it on camera, but I didn't want this video to be hanging on that happening. And I'm really glad that I put it together the way I put it together. And I'm also so excited that we actually saw something.
Here's the thing, like for me, what I keep going back to is if I had just seen that tonight without knowing anything that anybody has told me about the spot, I would have just told you it was car lights on the other side of those trees. Agreed. But the fact that they've had, you know, the University of Arkansas and Missouri State send researchers out here to study it and determine that they think it's some sort of natural phenomenon, to me, that makes it a lot more interesting.
Yeah, and what the cop said, that was pretty interesting.
So it used to be you couldn't see the light at all on that road we were just on. You had to be up a couple roads north.
That's wild. Like they're searching the area. We like the unknown phenomenon stuff. Kind of like Kathy's flat Earth thing.
Yeah, I'm not into flat Earth camp. Sorry, Kathy.
a man that worked for the Park Service his whole life, retired. When I asked him about the footprints first time years ago, he says, hey, I got a buddy who's listening here. We're on speaker. He says, tell us about the footprints. He said, which ones? He said, the ones by the shooting range or the ones at Red Gin? I said, well, the ones by the shooting range. He said, well, those are not on the National Forest. That's private property, for first thing. He said, but, he said, my family, he said, have tracked it back to the 1800s, 1890 something. He says, they've always been there. He said, they used to have mud squished up between the toes, but the erosion from the water washed them off. And he went on to tell me about, what they thought it was. They thought it was Native Americans wearing some kind of open-toed, sandal or something. They said it was not a bear, but it was something different. Said because that one footprint is so huge. But he said it could have been a huge man, but they said that was different. And he said the problem is the tracks at Red Gin are almost identical. He said, but these date back to the 1800s, late 1800s. He said, so they wouldn't have went to the trouble to do this.
Right.
I mean, and I'm like, well, yeah, I don't know, but it's really cool. When we first started coming up here, we would go and stop at every cemetery. We try to find anything that was on Gaia.
I love cemeteries.
Or somebody had something marked, we would try to find it.
The Devil's Knob Fire Tower, Children's Bluff Shelter, the Ozark Spooklight. We sat around the fire and discussed these three mysterious locations along with many others. The lore is a rich, shimmering veil that dances at the edges of understanding. It really is bigger than traditional categories like fact and fiction. It's an invitation to explore the shadows where the secrets dwell. The cool thing is when you immerse yourself in the history, the stories, the Ozarks becomes more than just some acreage to camp, fish, and hunt. The ordinary transforms into the extraordinary. And I found a strange sort of solace in that unpredictability. It teaches me that not all questions need answers. And sometimes the beauty lies in the questions themselves.
What a fun trip.
Yeah.
Favorite part, 3, 2, 1, go.
The burger.
The burger. Dude, those burgers, I'm telling you, I've said this before. Like a lot of times when you eat camp food, you say it's the best food you ever had. That burger might be the best burger I ever had. I'm going to make it at home and see if we can replicate the perfection that was that burger. Because if we can, we're opening a restaurant. Forget this YouTube channel. That was bomb.com. I think my favorite part was camping in a spot that I've never camped at. I always like finding new places. Super secluded, really quiet. Seeing the fish in the morning, listening to crickets last night. I don't know. All the vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. And we appreciate you guys watching this video as well. If you are not a member and you would like to become a member, you get access to like GPS data, group camp planning, where we all kind of do like a members only camp trip. We're planning to do one this winter. Lots of other fun stuff, access to a Slack group where we can chat and I give early previews of the videos, all that fun stuff. If you want to be a member, hit the join button here on YouTube. Don't got to go to Patreon, and you can become a member that way. And to all the current members, throw your names up right over here. Appreciate you guys as always. Shout out to our sponsors. Appreciate you guys as well. And that's all the big stuff, but there is one super, super important thing that I have waited to share until now. And Lennon, I think you should get us started. What's the most important thing in any video I do?
Remember?
Yes?
The more you camp, the less steer the aliens abduct.
Good job.